So apparently everyone has all the tips in the world for the best ways to invest in sports cards. I mean, just give it a search. Everyone's got their hacks, tips, and tricks. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about the opposite. I'm talking about ways not to buy and sell sports cards, specifically through showing off 10 of my worst sports card purchases. Some cards I still do unfortunately own, and some that I had to really just dump off. We're going to dive into card number one. This is, one of the first non-Jayson Tatum, non-Celtic sports cards I bought when I kind of re-entered the space in like beginning 2023, like late 2022, beginning 2023. I definitely overpaid because this was a PSA 10 LeBron rookie, not understanding fully that LeBron's Diary, that particular set, not the rarest set whatsoever. I actually then bought, shortly after, I bought the entire LeBron's Diary set for less than what this one PSA 10 cost me. And that alone should tell you the real big takeaway for what to avoid. Do not buy it now on eBay. Just like the thumbnail says, that much is very, very true, because for the most part, the people that are trying to get rid of product ASAP in that way, that kind of force the only way to sell that product, that card, is to buy it now, they are probably aware that they are taking advantage of people that might not know what fair market value actually is, right? The whole purpose of eBay is like really auctions and really having sort of a leg up on overall like what maybe outside of auction sites might be selling these cards for, right? So I think buy it now just overall has been terrible. This is certainly an example. I was an idiot for buying this for how much that I did. I sold it just about a month ago through DCsports. All right, this next card, it's actually honestly like a little bittersweet because the card itself is still cool. There was slight ignorance on my sake. So Pearl, Pearl Signatures Leaf, Allen Iverson, Tony Parker, Mike Bibby, and Penny Hardaway sticker auto. So I came to learn after that one, like Leaf is, actually like not a licensed with the NBA product. So it's like technically an unofficial product, right? So that is a factor, knowing that like if this was a actually licensed by the teams that these players played for and like had these players exclusive NBA rights attached, it would be worth more overall. When I bought this card, I actually thought this was a licensed product. I didn't realize that this was, kind of a more of a product of, I think, the commercialization of sports cards and memorabilia. Like they really just got these 4 individual players. They sent them stickers in the mail for them to sign individually for, I imagine, a ton of money. Then those players send them back into their factory, and they basically like factory assemble this card. Like it's essentially like a lab created diamond, so to speak. I'm kind of thinking of that on the fly. If it doesn't make any sense, then I apologize. But basically the how not to buy sports cards is exactly know if like what you're buying is a licensed product versus an unlicensed product. And then also too, just know the difference between an artificially crafted piece of cardboard that holds value only because like you take AI's chicken scratch that he sent in first class postage, probably took a month. And like Tony Parker, baby, across the board. Like I like that I had their 4 autographs on one piece of art, but it just was not worth. It was not going to be worth as much as I thought it might be one day. So I just figured I would really break even. I actually bought the card through Facebook and then sold it through DCsports, and so I was actually able to break even there. So I was looking to liquidate as well. I think like a year went by from the time that I bought to when I sold this, but anyways, that's the takeaway from this card. On to the next one. So we actually have a twofer here. So 2 cards, 3 and 4, DeAndre Ayton, Jayson Tatum Crown Royale. The thing about these cards, the unfortunate thing is that I grossly overpaid for both of these cards unknowingly. So really what I mean by this is there's a platform. I'm sure if you're watching me speak these words right now, you've heard of Whatnot. That place I have such strong negative feelings towards because of how reckless, how seemingly little oversight there is to the different gamification and different games that people can have to try and ultimately sell pieces of cardboard, right? And I mean this to say, it feels like more and more of things like Whatnot and live selling is treated like how gambling is treated on a lot of other platforms that I won't even name in this video. I think there's very little oversight, and it's very much like it feels like you're at like you're at the circus or something. Like the amount of ways that certain vendors or certain peddlers like try to promote that the time is winding down, right? And you have 3 seconds to outbid that person for, this legendary card that you really love, you've always wanted. It's like right in front of you. And are you going to let it go over an extra $1? You're already $60 deep, right? That's actually, I wish that was the price that ultimately these two cards ended up running me. But really, this was a part of a bigger Kaboom chase. So a Kaboom being a very special, very hyped kind of card. Ultimately, you were chasing, in my case, the Jayson Tatum Kaboom, right? A card that could be worth thousands of dollars. Instead, what I ended up doing was getting caught in the cycle of bidding for a certain spot in a break. And ultimately, all I walked away with was these two cards. Now, there's a caveat here where I really am emphasizing to put myself out there. People are going to say, like, you're an effing idiot, and therefore this is not a bigger problem with the industry or with whatnot as a platform. Why did you do this? You're a bad buyer, right? And I'll say, I agree. I was a complete idiot for what I'm about to tell you that I did is really why I overpaid for this. I bid against myself, and I had no idea in the moment that I was bidding against myself, right? And there were no checks and balances in place to make sure that I didn't have to live with that terrible decision as a buyer. And I'll tell you too, I even reached out to this particular person. I'll remember the account's name. I'm not going to say it here in this video. I reached out directly because, especially in the comments, right? I tried at first to say like, oh, I didn't realize I bid it against myself. Already understanding the predicament of how this affects everyone else that's part of that auction, right? So my understanding at the time was, I'm going to live with the fact that I just grossly overpaid for bidding against myself and just hope that I get the best cards possible, right? People seem to think that in that moment, that was a matter of mind games. That was like a comment that kept coming. People thought that I was like intentionally trying to bid against myself for sympathy points or something. I don't know why I would do that. I don't know why anyone would do that. But the fact that like, it was like a frenzy of people looking for ways to just like, no, he's got to live with his dumb mistake, that idiot. He has got this bigger ill will, right? And the cherry on top for me, again, as the pea-brained new buyer on the platform, right? Like, shame on me for not knowing the very intricate ways that you're supposed to bid on certain things when you hop into any whatnot live stream and it's holy crap, like it's stimulation overload, right? It's like the freaking circus. I want to say I reached out to this particular seller, and what they were able to do for me, they gave me an extra spot, but it's the reason why ultimately, I got a DeAndre 8, and like it was the team that I was given as the consolation was clearly like the least valuable. And even then it was just, to me, it was like, as a business owner, like I would just prioritize making that new customer feel as welcomed as possible, even if it meant taking a hit, man. Like, I suppose if you're not making a crap ton of money, and that difference is going to affect putting food on your table, then sure, right? But I somehow doubt that was the case with this seller. But anyway, I have these two cards that I'm probably never going to get rid of because they're just not worth anywhere close to what I ended up putting into them. But the lesson here is, avoid live selling unless you know the intricacies of who is selling and the whole atmosphere and the ways that you play certain bids. Just know what you're getting yourself into. It can be a lot of just your thrust upon this carnival-like mindset. So be wary. Next card, Blake Martinez. So this is actually one I intentionally bought this card for actually the first video on this channel. So I don't have any this is an example how not to buy cards. Do not buy cards of people that, I was going to say a very harsh word, but of people that allegedly take advantage of people on whatnot streams, and or at the very best, people that employ very recklessly, people that do whatnot streams and box breaks that they are not being held accountable for shady business, right? So if that is the extent of like Blake Martinez, and if you don't know what I'm saying too, I'll link to, it'll be a card at the top of this video. It'll pop up for you to check out that video where I talked a little bit more about Blake Martinez and then other collectors that are actually celebrities and why their intentions may not be the most profound. But Blake Martinez, how not to buy sports cards. Don't buy sports cards of people that are really shady unless you have the intent of kind of calling attention to that. So this is just the card I wanted to show. I'll say, if this Blake Martinez card, if I weren't making a video, I wouldn't have bought this card. And this also cost, it was like $10 or something with shipping. And I mean, yeah, I just now have like a relic, a prop from a video, so it holds more weight in my eyes. But ultimately, this symbolizes like, why I don't like whatnot, for example. Next card. All right, actually, I do get a hunt for this one. Marvin Bagley, rookie silver. Is that even worth hunting for, man? Jesus. All right, let me hunt for it. Hold on. It can be in any one of these two boxes, or anywhere here. Or up there. I really got to work on sorting up my cards. Pepino Man, he would be the channel to check out. Shout out Pepino Man.
2 hours later.
All right, after all of that, I couldn't find that damn Marvin Bagley card. I know I have it, but truthfully, it's so unimportant. It was such a, in hindsight, dumb purchase. I've lost it. I don't know where it is. But what I do have for you, at the very least, is a picture of that card, in its protector. The real lesson here, everyone, is sometimes when you try and project out, incoming players, you miss, right? Marvin Bagley was the same draft class as Trae Young, as Luka Doncic. There were a lot of guys in that draft class. I thought Marvin Bagley was going to be a difference maker for overall a franchise that very much needed some. So it's so unfortunate and sad to see that just like the talent that existed there never panned out. I think right now, at the time of me recording this, he's on the Pistons, is he? Turns out Marvin Bagley plays for the Washington Wizards. Oh my gosh. I didn't think it could get worse, right now at least, than the Detroit Pistons being like a place for a potential or a former top 3 draft pick to end up. But Washington, man, that's like, man, it's tough. Fact check on the draft class. That's right, yeah. Marvin Bagley, Ayton, Doncic, Jaren Jackson Jr. 2018, man. What a stack. Mikal Bridges, Shea went 11. Both Bridges, 10 at 10 and 12. MPJ, yeah, DiVincenzo at the lucky 17. Lonnie Walker, I'm a big Lonnie Walker fan. I have some Lonnie Walker graded cards, autographed. Kevin Huerter, Anthony Simons, man, yeah, top down. Time Lord, 2018. Oh my gosh, Jalen Brunson. 2018 might be one of the better draft classes in recent history. My guy, Svi Mikhailuk, shout out. I also have a gold autograph rookie card of his when he played for the Lakers. Full circle moment. If he wins with the Celtics, it'd be pretty cool. And of course, who could forget Kostas Antetokounmpo at the underdog spot, the 260, the Isaiah Thomas spot. All right, so don't want to spoil necessarily cards 8 and 9, but there are OG Anunoby cards coming up. First, though, we have to make a quick pit stop at Myles Turner. I have a very, very bad grade. I have a specific thing to take away from this very bad card experience. Let me just get it, though. All right, so this is the card that we're dealing with here. This is 2015 Immaculate Myles Turner, a collegiate patch auto. So where do I even begin with what is wrong with this? So I bought this card raw, right? And I also bought this at a time where no one was talking about Myles Turner. It was after last season's trade deadline, and he was still an Indiana Pacer. So the buzz that comes with when a player that people like gets traded somewhere fresh, that buzz was no longer going to be a thing at the end of that season. So my thought was, hey, buy this, raw autographed collegiate card of Myles Turner, then send it in for grading. And then my hopes was that in the offseason / the beginning part of the 2023 to 2024 NBA season, that he would get traded. But as you could see, there were too many elements of speculation that went into purchasing, grading, and then trying to flip this card. And flat out too, there's, I believe, a smudge that I may have missed in initially looking at the auto itself, which could account for why the auto grade was an 8. So not only was it kind of generally people are saying that grading the auto portion of a card is kind of irrelevant. So, but even then, it was especially irrelevant because I couldn't even get a damn auto 9 or auto 10, right? So not only that, but clearly the condition and quality of this card, it's a 6. This was a major fail. And going to be one that if I ever were to get rid of it or sell it, I'm going to be taking a pretty decent loss. I mean, it wasn't that much money to buy it raw or get it graded, but certainly not making my money back or profiting off of this. Even if Myles Turner would have gotten traded, I don't think I would have made money off of this. But yeah, the lesson learned here is don't speculate too much, and also really inspect your cards and consider if the auto grades are really even necessary, right? Or if you could just kind of have your card be autographed like on card, which is still a very special aspect, and if you could have it just even in like a an actual one of these. The conclusion here is I reluctantly still own this card. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so these next two cards are examples of how you really need to be considering the tier of player that you're going to be investing in versus the potential reward or profitability, right? So I bought these two OG Anunoby cards on the left here. One is numbered to 99. The other is gold. It's numbered to 10. And when I purchased this, again, it was at this time where not a lot of people were talking about OG Anunoby. He hadn't gotten traded again last season after the trade deadline, and the hype around Anunoby as the Raptors faded, he faded, right? So I bought both of these cards thinking that, one, I really like OG Anunoby as a player. I think not only the obvious, like his name is super interesting, but he is a British-born or I guess English-British-born player in the NBA. So he's amongst a very small select, a group of people in the NBA. So I like that. But overall, his game, he is you would say 3-and-D, but he just plays hard, period, right? Like whether he's needed to grab a rebound, make a good pass, or even just apply pressure off ball, right? I think he is a very dedicated player, and I think really he's the kind of player that might not be the 1, 2, or even 3 on a championship team, but you consider guys like Andrew Wiggins, right, who like maybe had a certain cachet to him in the first several years of his career, and also because of college. But then all of a sudden he plays for a very competitive team in the right spot, and he can shine and really help seal the deal. I see that type of potential for OG Anunoby. The thing here is the price point that I bought both of these cards made absolutely 0 sense because plot twist or surprise, eBay buy it now. The eBay buy it now bug got me hard with both of these. I really got with both of them. I ended up selling both of these cards too. A couple of weeks, actually, was it a week before? A week before he got traded to the Knicks. So I haven't even bothered to see if these cards actually did somehow go up in value from when I sold them both for a pretty significant loss about like a month and a half ago. So yeah, I mean, this is just an example of you got to be really smart with what amount of money you're willing to pay, the methods that you're buying these cards, and also considering the caliber of player. Like OG Anunoby, it would take, not a miracle, but it would take so many things going right for the value of his cards to go up at the time that I purchased them. Like he would need to get traded to like the Lakers or the Celtics. They would need to go on this crazy run where they win a championship, and OG Anunoby is like all of a sudden one of the best players in the NBA for one postseason run. So I think just the mentality behind these two cards. My thing too, and I think the real conclusion here, these cards that you're seeing, I'm saying these as far as like the cards I've talked about, these were all cards that I purchased in the first several months of my re-entry into this space. This video is not meant to paint me in a light where like I'm a genius. I'm an idiot. I'm a moron, right? I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to learn from my mistakes. And even the act of making this video and reflecting back, I feel like I've actually learned a lot about what I can and can't do, or what I should and shouldn't do going forward. So my hope is that this is not only an expression for myself, but if you're still watching this, this can just be a useful piece of content for you, just to make your life a little bit smoother and easier going forward. And also not make you feel bad about if you make mistakes. Like I've made so many mistakes. Just watch this video, right? So the final card, because this was 10 ways or 10 cards to exemplify how not to buy sports cards. I actually paid over $1,500 for this card. It's double-sided. And my thing was, I've never seen a card like this. Is this a one of one? And in reality, I'm full of crap. This came free with a box that I purchased. It was a total freebie. If you were to ever put $1,500 into ultimately like a card that someone just made, then that's going to be a big problem. So yeah, definitely don't do that. Still an example of how not to buy sports cards. If you enjoyed this video, consider checking out an additional video here, and also subscribe if you haven't already to keep up to date with more content.